Thank you very much for having the opportunity to present and share our research. Share the screen. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, and also because sometimes I have the issues with changing the slides. If I move them, can you also see them?
We can see AIM right now.
Okay. Perfect. So let me start. I would like to share our research entitled Cross-Cultural Examination of the War Concept, a Statistical Comparative Analysis in English, Ukrainian, and Dutch. And I carried out this research in cooperation with my dear colleague, Marianna. So what is the aim? Why we decided to do this research? So as soon as Russia launched a military invasion in Ukraine in 2022, media, both domestic and foreign, covered the war in Ukraine. And we decided to have a look at the usage of the word war and the words which denote the same concept in media of different countries, and to see how media reflect the escalation of the Russian-Ukrainian war. So how we did it? Of course, we had to start with the some text corpora in 3 languages, because we decided to cover Ukrainian, English, and Dutch. So we had to create 3 corpora for each language. And then first we had to select the online newspapers. For English, we have chosen New York Daily News, for Ukrainian, Ukrainska Pravda, and for Dutch, Amnesty International. And then we selected only the articles which covered the Ukrainian issue. And then with the help of Cat, we created 3 corpora. So then we move on to making a row of synonyms of war in 3 languages. And then we proceeded to the text analysis. So the text analysis we incorporated with the tool Sketch Engine, and for search we use the Cassandra query language. So the novelty of our research, so first of all, then this is comparative analysis, and at the same time it is done by an automated language processing tool. So this perspective illustrates the effect of war on language and elucidates the connection between war, language, and social. So let's move on to our findings. Here on this analysis of the concept of war, Vina, and order. So, as we see it here, the main notion, war, which is in Ukrainian Vina, in English and in Ukrainian, they have more or less the same amount of usage, but in Dutch it's different. Orlog has only 168, and this one is replaced for Anval, which is used 480 times. And in English, this is translated into attack, and it is used not as often as in Dutch, but still it reached the number of 171, one in Ukrainian only 84. So the next word, which was used as a synonym in all 3 languages, is invasion. In English, we have considerable amount in the usage. So while in the Ukrainian language and in the Dutch language, it is used less frequently. So the next interesting is conflict. So that the most often that one is used in the Dutch language, and here we have the amount of 171, and in English it is used 100 plus and only 71 times, while in Ukrainian it's only 6 times, which is quite obvious because we Ukrainians perceive it not as a conflict, but as a war. And also next is fighting in English, that is more or less coincides with Dutch, where we have fact only 15 times in both languages, but in Ukrainian, borotьба is used 39 times and be 9 times. So the next one is operation. The most often this notion is used in English, and in Ukrainian and in Dutch, it's more or less at the same level. The less frequently is used aggression in English, but it prevails in Ukrainian language, and it's in the middle in Dutch, aggressive. Also, I would like to admit that the notion offensive used as a noun, and this term denotes the battle between two armies, is used only 18 times in English, but in Ukrainian as nastup, it is used 54 times, and the least frequently it is used in Dutch, only 6 times. And here we have the last two, battle. In Dutch, it is used the most often, stride, 51 times, and 15 in English, and only 6 times in Ukrainian language. And occupation is not a very frequent word in these 3 texts. So the most often it is used in Ukrainian as оккупація, and then 9 times occupation in English, and only 3 times in Dutch. So if we move on here, I would like to show you the statistic by each of the corpus. So as you can see, the first one, the English corpus, just to remind you that it was compiled of materials from New York Daily News. So where the war prevails, and then we have attack, invasion, conflict, operation, aggression, and warfare. And then in Ukrainian corpus, we have more or less the same statistics. And I already mentioned that in Dutch, it is different because the keyword war and vina in Dutch is oorlog is used only 15.6 times, and it is replaced by aanval. So let me move on to conclusions. So one of the most significant findings to emerge from this study is that the keyword of the concept in English and Ukrainian coincides and reach the highest number. However, the keyword of the concept oorlog in Dutch varies. So aanval displaced oorlog and overtook it 3 times. Another significant difference is that invasion in English and invasie in Dutch prevail in usage compared to вторгнення in Ukrainian. And at the same time, conflict, to denote this concept, is used only 6 times in the Ukrainian language, while in English, it increased by 11, and in Dutch, the number soared further by 28. Also, we would like to give special thanks to Maria Hilde van Schare, the lecturer at Zuid University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands, who assisted us in compiling the research related to the Dutch language. And also, I would like to tell that the data were collected during the first 4 months after the war started. The full invasion started in Ukraine. And it would be very interesting to move on with the further research and to have a look at the statistic now. First of all, we have to admit, indeed, that the coverage of the Ukrainian issue and the question on war in foreign media now is decreasing, unfortunately, but also it would be nice and to have a look whether the data, the statistics have changed, and if so, what are the results now? So it's our plan to do it in our further research. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you very much for very interesting comparison and insights. Are there any questions to the presenter?
Do you have any hypotheses which could explain this difference?
So the question is whether you have any hypothesis which can explain the difference, yes, which you have revealed.
Yeah, of course, because we know that language represents the ideology of the society, and then it was our idea to have a look how it is seen by different languages, and by language, then it's the representation of the culture of another nation.
Mm-hmm.
It's, for example, yeah, the vivid example is conflict. But in English and Dutch, it is used as a replacement of war. In the Ukrainian language, it is used in this case only 6 times, because for us, Ukrainian, this is definitely not a conflict.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the answer to the question, Any other questions? Maybe from the online participants? No, then let's continue. I should announce some changes, yes, to our program. So our next presenter will be Solomia Albota, and she will represent the team of scholars, including Zoriana Kunch, Lilia Harchuk, and Miroslava Ghnatyuk, and will speak about the study of semantic transformations of deterministic lexicon using the example of the Lexeme virus. So just a second. Share the presentation with you. Just a second. So here it is.
Okay. So, dear participants, let me introduce the topic, purpose research of semantic transformations of deterministic lexicon using the example of the Lexeme virus. On the behalf of the team, so I will start. Well, based on the analysis of semantic transformations of deterministic lexemes in the journalistic style of literal language, using the example of the word virus, and selected by identification from the generally regionally annotated corpus of the Ukrainian language, GRAK, it was found that journalistic style of literal language effectively utilizes a deterministic lexicon, particularly at the level of functional determination, as well at the level of lexical semantic and semantic stylistic modifications of lexemes. So the novelty of the work is that research on determinate lexemes and literary tropes across various functional styles, the study of semantic transformations of determinate lexicon in journalistic discourse is currently underexplored in a wide range. The source base of the research, a total of 51,888 citations with the Lexeme virus, created on the basis of continuous selection from the subcorpus Ukrainian Media Discourse 2000-2023 were processed. Identified citations with the Lexeme virus served as material for thorough philological analysis. So the study aims to investigate semantic transformations of deterministic lexemes in the journalistic style of literary language using the example of the word virus. So to achieve the goal, the following tasks were implemented. Then the following methods have been applied. So the contextual analysis, the distribution analysis, the phenomenological method, the deductive approach, the inductive method, and the structural descriptive method. So moving forward to the results, the Lexeme virus used in the modern Ukrainian language has three meanings, two of which are terms of the medical, biological, and computer terminology systems. So in this work, we aim to analyze the possibilities for transforming these meanings in specific contextual conditions of the journalistic style of literary language. Our analysis allowed tracing the dependence of lexical semantic processes on socioeconomic, cultural, historical, and socio-political circumstances of society. Such linkage, as we assume, is primarily determined by the fact that we analyze the language of mass media, which sharply reacts to the current issues of societal life. The widespread interest of citizens in specific social, economic, political, and moral ethical issues leads to the intensification of their coverage in the media, which in turn causes changes in the frequency of usage of certain semantic modifications of the Lexeme virus with certain chronological periods. So this figure illustrates the change in the dynamics of the usage of Lexeme virus in various semantic modifications. The first, a red curve, reflects the frequency of usage of this lexeme as a functional determination in the meaning of medical biological term. The second curve, yellow, demonstrates the frequency of usage of the lexeme virus as a functional determination of the computer terminology system. And the third curve, green, shows the frequency of usage of the lexeme virus as a literary device. The next figure shows the combination of medical biological term virus with commonly used words, which results in the overall emotional intensity of the collocation, such as deadly virus, giant virus, exotic virus, wild virus, raging, primitive, serious, cunning, unknown, trained, aggressive, worthless, unique, stronger, vicer, smiter virus. The combination of medical term with a descriptor, a commonly used word, carrying semantics of quality, magnitude, like gigantic, strength, worthless, primitive, degree of danger, deadly, aggressive, cunning, wild, unique, exotic. The next figure shows the combination of the medical biological term virus with metaphorically reinterpreted verbs, predicates that form a certain artistic imagery and contributes to the particular expressiveness of the expressions, such as awaken the virus, plays into the hands of viruses, the virus is spreading, virus feels confident, the virus rages, repel viruses, the virus can dwell, the virus put in, virus visited, viruses roam, the virus got into, make the virus drunk, viruses have affected, lure the virus hides, viruses attack, the virus reminded. So let's note that in some quotes, authors resort to placing verbs in quotation marks, which are combined with the word virus, thus demonstrating the conditional connection of these words. The next figure, it's a combination of the medical biological term virus with metaphorically reinterpreted nouns, contributes to the precision and relevance of expression, imbuing the phrase with a certain emotional charge, such as wave of viruses, onslaught of viruses, trap for viruses, rampage of viruses, migration of viruses, migrant viruses, microcosm of viruses, proximity to the virus epicenter, and to tame a virus. One more picture, the last one, it's we observe that precisely due to the combination of the term virus with a commonly used noun, which does not belong to the medical biological terminology, the respective word combination acquires the function of a poetic metaphor, thereby contributing to the clarity of thought and achieving a certain artistic effect. Moreover, metaphors in socio-political sphere and moral psychological sphere have been distinguished. So there are other examples. So linguistic analysis of the selected material for investigation shows that even when in its terminological sense as a functional determination, the lexeme virus to some extent transforms its semantic field as it acquires the ability to combine with lexemes of the general language level, the combination of which is not fixed in scientific context. So the analyzed material demonstrate significant frequency, for example, using this lexeme virus, and we assume that similar patterns may apply to other determinate lexemes in journalistic discourse, which may be a prospect for further research to identify general trends. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So maybe I have a short question, yes, to start this question session. So why have you chosen this specific lexeme virus as well the object of your research?
Thank you for your question. So first of all, this lexeme virus has been traced in the corpus of nearly 62,000 of citations. So 62,000 occurrences, let's say. And secondly, of course, COVID, then post-COVID time, then Russian-Ukrainian war. So all these spheres, they shaped the interest, let's say, shaped the debated topic of using this virus, mainly in all spheres, yes, not only in linguistics, but computer science, different spheres of science. So mainly virus has been detected within the corpus, and the semantic transformation, how the lexeme was changed, also has been of importance.
Thank you very much. So are there any questions? No questions. So thank you very much, Sylvia. Solomia, thank you very much. And we can, I guess, move on to our next speaker, yes, our next presenter. And it's my great pleasure to welcome here Professor Ivan Bechta, Ivan Antonovich. So the floor is yours. So we are very eager, yes, to listen to your contribution to your recent findings on quantifying verbal semantics, yes, a computer-based discourse analysis of verba sentiendi versus verba dicendi in Angela Carter's fiction. You're welcome. But you are mute, so we cannot hear you. Please turn on the mic.
Very much. So I've joined you once again and just passionately waiting for the power not to cut off again. Let me share the screen. It's this one probably.
Yes, we can see it.
Can you see that? I cannot see it. Oh yes, it's here. Can you see this, Marianna?
Yes, we can see your presentation.
My idea is as follows. Just to be quite short, but crazy with my theoretical endeavors that I've started at the end of the 70s last century. And they concern the analysis of ways of thinking and ways of speaking and the secondary type of communication, which is fiction. and not the first type of communication like reality. And this is really very much important for us to trace what's going on in reality if we really read a lot, because as it has been stated by some scholars, I'm not now in the habit of memorizing lots of the names of them from different schools and different perspectives. But the more we read, the better we become. So the more we read fiction, the better we understand each other from reality. So, and besides, in my opinion, what I'm doing today with you, as I've started working with applied linguistics department, as finding out very important instruments, very important data, very important tools to analyze all kinds of lingual signs and lingual means that exist in language, and real language and language of fiction, well, in all possible worlds, to be more exact. And for this reason, what I'm for currently is defending this, what I call discourse-based, computer-based discourse analysis, computer-based. Next to all those approaches that exist in analyzing discourse, that is language in use in reality or in fiction, next to all those varieties of them, like conversational approach to the analysis of language, or computer-mediated, or corpus-based, or ethnographic, with the ethnography of communication suggested once by Compert and Dilai with the acronym speaking. That's a vivid model how to do or genre analysis of language in use, or whatever, or form and function type of analysis, which is like pragmatic approach to the analysis of language in the varieties of disciplines. In the varieties of disciplines, not necessarily linguistics currently, in the disciplines of humanities and even beyond that. That's what we can see now during today's conference, like the previous conferences as well. Probably all these ideas come to us from ordinary language philosopher thinkings when they introduced the speech act theory, moving further into the communicative act theories, and now to discourse type acts of varieties of theories, approaches, and schools that exist nowadays. That is why what I'm defending but recently, well, probably the last decade, this is like computer oriented or computer-based discourse analysis. Why? Because it helps me a lot, to be exact. It helps me a lot with the data that I receive, with all those useful instruments and tools that have been elaborated profoundly by computer personnel and those people working in the field of IT technologies. So helped me a lot to find out data that actually do not need verifications after all when I apply all this. And then besides, it is much more quicker than those data when I calculated them somewhere in the 70s, the previous century. So I can do it much quicker today, by the way. So what I've done is counting the verbs of thinking and verbs of speaking in fiction. And as the case studies, the writer Angela Carter, who is she's part of my profound research elsewhere, as well as other writers that belong to certain school under the rubric of postmodernism or even modernism of the 20th century. And previously, I considered the notions like verbs of endophasy way and exophasy way, with references to the ideas of such psychologists as Vygotsky, but currently new ideas appeared in terminology of those verbs of thinking and speaking, that I call them like verbum dicendi and verbum sentiendi. But in trace of the research and in performing the case studies with reference to computer-based analysis of these data of Angela Carter's fiction, I understood, I wanted to find out the way of the way of psycholization of the literature, well, the way we speak, or the way we think, what happens to us, what happens to us currently at the present moment, or the end of the 20th century as well. So what happens to us? Do we speak more, or do we think more? Do we think more? When we think more, we have nothing to say. We don't know how to voice our thoughts. Or do we speak more because we have nothing to think about? That's quite a philosophical point. Well, a lot of things you can find in the article that I've submitted to the conference. If anyone is very much interested in, not just in the questions for the sake of having questions for the during the conference meeting, but you can go deeper into the root of the matter in case you feel like doing it. But in conclusion, I'm so much in a hurry because there is current power cut off in my village, and I couldn't sit quite long with you. But thanks God I'm now with you at present, presenting the paper, the comprehensive analysis that I performed concerning this case study that I touched the issue of Angela Carter's fiction, of quantifying verba sentiendi in relation to verba dicendi. You can see that in Carter's magical fiction provides valuable insights into this, what is called portrayal of interiority and exteriority. The classification or taxonomization of the verbs of thinking and speaking was done by me in my dissertation papers a long time ago. So I've used these useful terms, but the new rubrics like interiority and exteriority, with references to new scholars that you can find in my article as well, facilitating holistic understanding of how speech and thought representations are employed in various contexts, comparing frequencies of related words and leveraging descriptive statistical data. All this you can find owing to using computer tools, as I've said, like Word, and subsequently applying descriptive statistic concerning with R and offered quantitative validation of linguistic observations. And I trace this kind of bias to psycholization of the world of fiction via the characters' actions concerning speech and thought. So much with that for this kind of presentation, and thanks for listening to it for a little while.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. Well, are there any questions, dear participants, in the room or on Zoom?
Marianna, let me make a little announcement. So in this workshop, the students of our department are present, master students. So I would like to turn to our and your students to take part in our discussion also. So, dear students, if you have some questions, you have such an opportunity. So, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution.
The pleasure was mine indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And well, then let's continue. Our next presenter will speak on behalf of the team of scholars, including Volodymyr Natushenko, Nataliia, Maxim Sidoruk. So yes. So the talk is on the following topic. So creating effective translation and localization strategies to promote Korean culture on the Ukrainian language internet. And just a second. Sorry. Number 16. This one. Okay. So
my topic is creating effective translation and localization strategies to promote Korean culture on the Ukrainian language internet. And on this work, we're using such methods as the qualitative analysis of the literature, content analysis, survey, web analytics analysis, user experience research, experimental design, and data statistical analysis. In their work, scientists determined that the Korean language, or it's also called Hallyu, has become a real Korean phenomenon, and the largest number of books explaining the phenomenon appeared after 2019. And at this time, Korean music has greatly changed its priority from offline to online, from audio to visual, and from domestic market to international market. And when creating a website about Korean culture, it's important to localize it correctly. As statistics show, sites whose information is edited and for the local audience are more convenient and improve user experience. Over the past 10 years, Korean culture has evolved a lot and has become much more popular around the world. If earlier only Psy and his Gangnam Style were known in Ukraine and all world, now BTS has become one of the most popular bands in the world. Squid Game has become one of the most popular series on the Netflix, and Parasite has won the prestigious Oscar. However, even with such popularity, there is still no website in Ukraine that could tell about Korean culture. There are only two websites which exist in the Ukrainian internet. It's a website in the Korean Culture Center in Kyiv and website of the Ukrainian K-pop Wiki. But website of the Korean Culture Center not updating, and they have only old articles. And the website of the Ukrainian K-pop Wiki show information only about Ukrainian K-pop, only about Korean K-pop groups and only about popular. If they have like maybe 20 groups, and that's all. And they don't have any other genres, they don't have any other parts of the Korean culture on their website. But in the social media, situation is a little bit better because of most popular groups like Blackpink, BTS have their own fan bases, and they have their pages on the Instagram, on the Twitter, on the Facebook, and people who live in Ukraine created content about BTS, about Blackpink, and translating their videos, translating their songs, and so on. Also, there are some YouTube channels, for example, channel Pop Ukrainian Translation, which are translating Korean songs to Ukrainian language. There are some Ukrainian cover dance teams, which dance Korean dances and sharing their video on YouTube, how they dance in the public almost every day. I made a survey for fans of Korean culture, and there are participated 200 respondents. And I have first question asked them, do they have an account of the Korean content in Ukrainian language? And 72% replied they don't have an account of content, and they must use foreign languages resources. And after that, I asking them if there will be exist some resource about Korean culture, they will use it or not. And 88% replied, 88% people replied they will use Ukrainian website about Korean culture. After that, I asked 2 questions about which content they want to see on the site. And almost all people replied they want to see content not only about the music, they want to see something about Korean TV series, about Korean traditions, about Korean holidays, about Korean food, and so also about Ukrainian people who creating content about Korea, about events which are going in Ukraine, about Korea, and all the stuff. And people who have finished this survey get a little bonus. I used it to speak with Korean singer Kinsha, and she wrote a letter to Ukrainian fans and recommend them some songs to listen. While creating website, I used Gold Tree, which you can see on the screen. I used it to information model and the composition on the first level. My website have 3 parts. First part is part about Korea. In this website, you can see articles which have Ukrainian aspects in these articles. For example, there are articles where you can go in Ukraine. In this article, explaining how to find dance team if you want to dance K-pop dances. In which page you can enter team where you can watch videos from Korean dances. Where you can try Korean food in Ukraine. Where you can which events you can go or which festival you can visit, and so on. Also, there are an article about Ukrainian and Korean collaboration because of there was a situation where Koreans come to Ukraine and they created clip in Ukraine. One Ukrainian producer created clip for famous Korean singer Jungkook from BTS, and also I used it to speak with one Ukrainian singer, which used it to create songs with one Korean singer, and he tell his experience, and I wrote about his singer and his experience on my article. There are 2 more parts. Second part is part music. This part contains information about Korean music, but not only about K-pop. I use it to investigate Korean traditional music, Korean underground music, and there are very different types of music showed in my website. For example, in this screenshot, you can see part of the article about Korean traditional music, and I use it to speak with one Korean musician, which played a Korean traditional instrument gaegim, and she wrote to Ukrainian people why she plays this instrument, like why it is important, and she offered to Ukrainian people some music to listen, which some of their songs. And third part is part culture. This part contains everything beside of music, because of music it's a very big part of Korean culture, and there are like holidays, Korean food, Korean video, like Korean gaming industry, Korean TV series, and so on. And in the round screenshot, you can see a part of the article about Korean baseball, because Korean baseball is not just sport a game. Like almost every big Korean company have their baseball team. For example, they have team Samsung Lions, they have team Kia Tigers, and every team have their own song. They have their own cheerleaders, which dance on the stadium, which cheer up people and cheer up players. Also, they have food courts on the stadium. They have a big screen, which have some entertainment program on the breaks. So Korean baseball is not just a game; it's also an entertainment program. After creating the website, I get some reviews from people. There you can see part of them. Part of the reviews get from Telegram, where I posted my link for the website, and part of the reviews I get from website review forum. Also on the screen you can see the first 10 days visited 290 people, and site loading 112 seconds. And the conclusion, after analyzing various resources, it was determined that the practice of the creating Ukrainian specialized sites is becoming more common. There are also fans of Korean culture in Ukraine who create content and translate Korean content to Ukrainian. However, there is not a lot of such content, and there are still a need for high-quality specialized thematic resources in Ukraine. During the work, a site about Korean culture was created, which has a lot of diverse content, including authors' content about little researched topics. The site was visited by 290 users in the first 10 days, and the site received positive feedback from the users. Thanks for attention.
For the presentation. So let's take some questions. Are there any questions, dear participants? Yes, we have one here in the room first, maybe. So, Mia, will you please come up, because, well, otherwise we will not hear your question.
The question is, if I get interest in Korean culture, but I don't know anything at all about it, would it be suitable for the site to get familiar?
Yeah, sure. Because of my site's music page have like some parts, and first part it's how to enter to the Korean underground music and it show why Korean underground music is interesting. Second part it's showing like which platform you need to use to get some music, and also there are some playlists which are showing different musicians, so people who don't know any musician can get my playlist and found some new music. And also there are, besides of music, there are some content, for example, which are Ukrainian people creating content about Korea, which Korean channels you can watch in Ukrainian, and so on. So even person who don't know Korean culture much can find something interesting in my website.
Thank you. Well, maybe we have more questions here from those participants who are online on Zoom. Yes, one more question here. Well,
so the question is about the website and its certain optimizations. I tried to look to Google it, just use simple words like Korean culture in Ukraine, and I couldn't find it on first 2-3 pages. So perhaps is it the way for you to optimize the website performance? Is it already actually public with its own domain name, or how does it work?
Actually, it was published only with Wix, and after these 300 people who participated, I get some reviews. I now adding some pages, and when the site will be fully finished, I will make a search engine optimization, and it will be added to the Google after a full finished website.
Okay, so as for search engine optimizations, are you going to use Wix products, Wix functionality for that,
yes.
Or this will be some standalone?
Wix have their own search optimization system.
Thanks. Thank you for clarifying.
thank you.
I'm sorry. I was absent at some time. Marianna, could you tell me, has Olga Kulina presented a report about
Yes.
because there some one question to report, but if time schedule allows, the question may be asked now or later when all the reporters present their reports.
I guess we can take this question right now. Olga is present.
Yeah, I'm here.
We have just one presentation left, so maybe meanwhile our next presenter will get ready. So please ask your question.
One moment, please. The question was about the prospects of researching the concept in other language regarding cross-cultural research, concept of war. So will be this concept studied in on the materials of other languages? So that was the question.
Thank you very much for the question. I think at the end of my presentation, I partly answered that question, because for time being, our next perspective is, because of the materials, the data we collected, these are from the first 4 months after the full invasion of Ukraine launched. And then, of course, our next perspective is to have a look at whether anything has changed, and whether media in Ukraine and in other countries have the same platform, or anything has changed. For time being, our attention is to stick to the same languages, but it's a very good idea to add other languages. Especially, I think it would be great to add Russian language, even we hate it, because I think that here the perspective would be completely different. So I hardly can imagine, because, for example, the key concept war, Vina and Orlov, done in English and in Ukrainian, in our case, it's coincided, while in Dutch, it was used not so often as in Ukrainian as in English. Instead, it was substituted by anfal. And I hardly can think that this term, by now, could be used in Dutch, in Russian media. It would be nice to have a look at it. Yeah, and yeah, of course, it's always the matter of being acquainted with the languages. Yeah, I think Polish for me is also okay because I still can deal it. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a good idea.
And thank you very much for your answer. Your research is very prospective.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you very much. Also would like to take the next step and to thank you very much for giving the opportunity to present our paper, and then we can share the ideas, and at the same time we can get inspired for our further research. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe there are some other questions to Oля Kulina or other participants. So if you come up with some questions, you can put them in chat so we can discuss them. Yes, a bit later today, yeah, or tomorrow, go back to those questions, yeah. And now I would like to introduce our last speaker for today. Tatiana Shostakevich will speak also on behalf of Nataliia Sirotinska, Christina Rebinek, and Markian Mikhailo Paprotsky. And he will speak on modeling of the research corpus for computational study of music based on the material of the Ukrainian sacred monody. So, Tatiana, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. You are welcome. And here is the presentation. Full screen? Make it full screen all this way. It's up to you.
So, dear friends and colleagues here in the room and there far away from this room, I'm so glad to present this idea, and this is what I like the most, that the previous presenter was speaking on the music as well. So it's pretty interesting that it was such a coincidence. This cooperation between music and linguistics, it appeared accidentally, but I really like the results, that it was presented already in the different spheres. The idea was, the main idea was to check whether can we look at the music text as the text as we do it in linguistics, because such a lot of instruments, such a lot of tools we have to work in linguistics and online or different kind of information technologies to work with text. Maybe music text can be changed or moved into linguistic as well. Can we apply linguistic tools into the music? And it was possible because we have novel approaches in information technologies that can work with music. And it was very nice that the prospects of this multidisciplinary project was, well, the perspectives were pretty interesting. The ancient music, in here probably you can see there is the music before the 15th century. There were quite a lot of ways to put the music on a sheet. By the way, this is something you see on the below of the screen. This is the one of the possible representations of the music. A lot of, not a lot, but there are few projects when the early music is collected, the photos of the early music sheets is collected and presented like this. But well, since the 15th century, the Western music notation appeared, and then music became as we know it. But different kind of initiatives who would like to preserve this ancient music exist in the worldwide, and these are the websites of some of them. Here is another representation. This I'm not sure I will say it properly, project. Why I presented it here, especially this project, is, well, interesting for me. Again, there are pictures of the photos of music sheets from back since, I believe this one is since 13th century, and and Ukraine is mentioned here as well. Even Lviv is mentioned here as well, because there are two music sheets of 15th century which are known, and they origin is probably even, they are originally from Lviv. Now they are preserved in Krakow for now. And there's another initiative, the early music online, again, digitalized pictures of the music. Although these initiatives are pretty interesting, but unfortunately they do not allow to at least search within this music text. And it was one of the tasks we worked on. First, we were searching on what's going on in music corpora, and most of them, but quite a lot of them, were the format of its entries. It was audio, not the machine readable notation. Maybe only 1, 2, 3 of corpuses of corpora I have found. There was a music notation, machine readable music notation. Some search could be done within, and then we went to the working on Ukrainian sacred monody. It's 16th or 17th century book. Here it's it's on the picture, and this is the very beginning of the Ukrainian sacred music written in the Western notation. This is the one we have now. Different formats of the music we can preserve, and well, we were interested in music XML format because we know how to search within, and there will be a figure you might recognize it. I'll show you. So this is the idea. Well, we've started from the MCR, music recognition character, and you see on the right, on the left, the monody, the sacred melody, and on the right, after being recognized, there's 3 notes. The first 3 notes from this melody saved in the music XML format, and with such format we can work and find and search for it. The model of the computational study, we want, how can we do some research with such music? It's presented in here. It's the Patrinet. The Patrinet. It's explained what can we do having music sheet data. It's on the very top. If we had different kind of music sheet data, what can we do? We should recognize it, then and develop a lot of different acts, a lot of different things we can do next. As soon as we can search within, well, the world of linguistic tools is open for us. And well, these were the 3 main steps: the optical music recognition, and then we were updating using corpora, and then perform some music corpus-driven approach. This is the software we used for the recognition, and then it's supposed to be some mistakes happened, and we should overcome it, and it was our job. And the software was designed. These are these use case diagram to present what are the functions of the software. Here it's presented. I mentioned earlier. if you worked with Ant-Kong software, then probably you might recognize this right half of this figure, because we were inspired by the Ant-Kong and present something that we were searching in this visual way. So on the left, the number of songs, this sacred melody songs, we have recognized and set as XML, as music XML format. Here is the constellation. This is something that we are searching for. And to the right, those red parts is when this constellation, this number of nodes was found. And then we decided to search all these constellations. They were pre-ordered. And then this is how they were, that's where they were found, lots of them. And that's the results of the software, how it works, and more of them. As the conclusion, maybe I will not read it but I want us to say in a shorthand, I believe we succeed in searching and finding the way how to work with music text as we know it. We have found the way how to apply all this wide range of tools of linguistics to the music text. And now we're working on creating a text task book with this music sheet, and different kind of research. One of the outcomes of this cooperation, I believe, will be the open access corpus of Ukrainian ancient music. So you can search within, you can learn from it, and you can see it on the pictures. That would be probably all. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
So emotional.
So interesting, definitely not maybe interesting, but definitely emotional, because I like it so much. I know nothing of music. It's just people who read music, they are gods for me, because I no, in the shower maybe. With the hope we have found some platform where to put it on, and it works with the open educational resources. So we would like to cooperate with them so this music corpus was open for downloading and research and so on. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We maybe as next step we will all the ancient music images, we already processed them. Maybe we will go for it's 16th, 17th century. Maybe we'll find an older book and work and continue our work.
Thank you. Well, do we have more questions?
What did you do with mistakes about your mistakes in text music?
We had, unfortunately, the people supposed to be involved, and we are sitting and checking each and every note. I'm reading as it's read in machine readable. I'm just saying that's B, quarter, and something else. And my colleague says, yeah, and we're checking each and every note. This is what to make sure it's recognized properly. This is what we have to do, unfortunately. But at least we have this. Recognized, at least the basis is okay, and we're just checking. About maybe 2 or 3 notes within 100 are not recognized properly, but it's still very good level of automatic recognition.
Thank you very much. Well, any other questions? No, we have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you,
Tatiana, for your presentation. Emotional and inspiring. Yeah.
Tears are running down.
So thank you very much. So dear participants of the conference, this was actually our last speaker for today. So we have covered all the topics, all the contributions, yes. And if there are any questions to the participants, any comments or recommendations, so you are welcome to express them. So then, thank you very much for participating, for sharing your ideas, for sharing your findings, for your contributions, which, as we see, demonstrate, yes, reflect different aspects of computational linguistics development. Well, thank you for providing us with some stimulating ideas. Yeah. Well, and maybe I will now will take the floor, yes, to our colleagues from Kharkiv. And well, so Yevhen, we have covered all the topics, so for today.
Okay. Well, so we from Kharkiv side, we would like to express our gratitude to organization and especially to our special thanks to Victoria Wysocka for great and huge work owing to which the conference has been conducted. So and would like to wish all success to our participants in their future researches, and to Victoria for prompt recovery. So Victoria, I wish you get well faster. So Nataliia,
hey, and well, tomorrow we are going to continue. So it's today is just the first day of the conference. Tomorrow we will continue in online mode. So please follow the same link and join us tomorrow to listen to more interesting, fascinating findings of our scholars. So see you tomorrow.
And we expect that tomorrow the reports will be also very interesting and informative to the audience.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was very interesting, and for tomorrow, I hope it will be more interesting and more interesting.
Yes, so
thank you.
Thank you. So see you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Have a good day. Take care. Goodbye. See you
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.